Hello and welcome to episode 47 of the Dynamo Football Book Club. My name's Al Bond and I'm here with my co-host, John Coughlin, who's never ever been involved in a secret society or a racketeering group.
No. Of course, it would be omerta for me to mention it if I was.
So now we don't know. That old Carlo Mafia, Johnny. Sinister people.
Okay, tell us the book.
Okie dokie. All right then. So this week, we are doing The Miracle of Castel di Sangro by Joe McGinniss.
Con l'aiuto di Dio. La parata! Il Castel di Sangro in Serie B! Il Castel di Sangro in Serie B! In Serie B! Il Castel di Sangro in Serie B!
This is a book which describes an American journalist, 53 years old, following a lower league Italian side. And as a Serie B side, and as the central defender Luca D'Angelo says, Serie B, there's never a dull moment apart from the 90 minutes of the match. Right off the bat, Johnny, this is your suggestion for the book club. And without question, Johnny, this is the best book we've done. It's the best book we've done. It's absolutely fucking brilliant. It's brilliant, Johnny.
Yeah, this is my favourite football book. And I'm so glad that you liked it. You know, I fully expected that you would. I read it before. And obviously going back to something, now that we are so practiced in reading football books, I wondered if I'd like it as much, and I did. I liked it more because I guess we've read a lot of shit. But this is a fantastic book. This is not only my favourite football book, this is one of my favourite books. This is a really fantastic book, isn't it?
Well, this is the trouble with this book, Johnny, because honestly, to any listeners out there, I'm saying, no, definitely download the podcast and rate it 5 stars. But there's almost part of me that says, go and read this book before we talk about it, because my God, the twists and turns. And like in a football book, a fucking like Shanaman twist, like it's fucking like Sixth Sense right at the end. There's a gut punch, a fucking gut punch right at the end. Like, oh, it's absolutely magnificent. All right, Johnny, can I just very quickly, so this is written by Joe McGinniss. And right at the start, our old friend Alexi Lalas pops up. And covering Alexi Lalas is what got this Joe McGinniss fella into football. Now, this Joe McGinniss character, Johnny, my goodness me. Have you done any research into him?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
So he's no longer with us. Oh, by the way, Alexi Lalas, here's an article from October 30th, 2024 from The Guardian. Alexi Lalas keeps posting MAGA propaganda. Does it matter? Not to Joe McGinniss, I would suggest. Not only because he's dead. At Joe McGinniss's funeral, Johnny, did you see one of the speakers was Roger Ailes, the founder of Fox News? Roger Ailes, yeah, the subject of the movie Bombshell about his sexual harassment. I mean, this man, wow, he has some significant friends.
But he's left on the political spectrum, though, isn't he? He's not a...
Is he?
Yeah, I think so.
That is not the impression I got, because another speaker at his funeral was Andrew Sullivan, another famous right-wing firebrand. And also, weirdly, another speaker at his funeral was Ray Hudson, the Newcastle twat commentator. Oh, Messi, oh, he's gone like flown too close to the sun. But that is a weird combination of people to have at your funeral. All right, fair enough. I mean, fair enough.
Was that Geordie or Jamaican?
All my accents always have a very real danger of veering into racist stereotypes. If I start doing Welsh, oh bloody hell, Johnny. Oh bloody hell, we're in Apu territory.
But so yeah, Joe McGinniss, at the age of 26, he wrote a book about Nixon's campaign to be president. At the age of 26. And then, yeah, it's funny, on McGinniss's, like, this is a football classic. And on his Wikipedia page, this doesn't even warrant a paragraph of its own. This is his midlife crisis, isn't it? That's what this book is.
But what a crisis, Johnny. But yeah, you're absolutely right. As I say, he was 53 when he went out there. And it would be fair to say he very much fell in love with it. All right, so shall we crack on, Johnny? Talk about the book?
Well, before we do, I want, because you kind of talked about the M. Night Shyamalan-esque twist, and there are twists and turns in this book. To what extent do you think we should talk about the outcome? Because I agree, Al, I think more than any book, this is a book people should read. And it's different than every football book because, like I said, I read this before but I forgot what the outcome was. And I was tempted at various times to check the internet to see what happened at the end, but I didn't, because this really does read like, I've said in maybe 20 episodes, the football is the most boring bit, but not in this. This book makes the football come alive, at least makes his stomach churning following of the football. He is really, really living this. It actually reminds me of watching football with you a bit, Al, because you used to really live it. I remember watching games with you and you'd be going mental. But he was obviously hung out when he was watching these matches. So yeah, okay, let's just dive right into it. The Miracle of Castel di Sangro.
All right, well, my first observation is it's a bad name. In as much as you say, this is, arguably the best football book I've read, but I'd never heard of it. And you wouldn't know from the title that it has anything to do with football whatsoever. I thought you were sending me down another soccer wars-like route with this, to be honest. Like, it's going to be about some sort of Italian revolutionary who once played football, for 20 minutes. But no, it's a magical story. It's about a team from the town of Castel di Sangro, population of only 5,000, and they reach Serie B. And that is the miracle of Castel di Sangro, them reaching Serie B. And so they're playing these huge teams like your Genoas and your Lecces.
Torino, exactly right.
And so Joe McGinniss goes to cover this for a year.
Which, by the way, is just crazy. So let's talk about McGinness for a second. McGinness, as I said, he's written this book about Nixon. He's written various kind of true crime books that have been very big in the US. He is a big name in American journalism. And he has been offered, I think, $1 million to sit in on the OJ trial and write a book about it. He sits in on the OJ trial and he never writes the book. And between kind of 1990 and 1994, but particularly I think during the World Cup in 1994, he really, really goes off the deep end. And from out of nowhere becomes obsessed with soccer. One of the quite charming things about this book, Al, is the way he talks about it, because he's explaining very, very basic things, like what's a corner kick, because his audience is an American audience. You know, he describes what a penalty kick is, these kinds of things. But just the idea, like he's a crazy man, right? He decides, okay, I'm going to leave my family and I'm going to move to Italy, to this, backwater in Abruzzo, which is like Abruzzo, which is one of the poorest regions of Italy. And he's going to live in this village in the mountains with 5,000 people, and he's going to follow this team for a whole year. Like, this is a crazy man. And boy, does he follow him, because he very much becomes embedded, right? I suppose is fair enough, in the Castel di Sangro setup, which is kind of the thing that makes this book is the amazing story itself, the twists and turns in the season. But the thing that really makes the book is him, because he's so daft.
He's absolutely mental. That's it. By his own admission, he was not interested in football until 1994, and he falls in love with Roberto Baggio. And this book's written in 1996, and he feels very much entitled to give the coach lots of advice about what he should be doing with the team. I really find the astonishing, what's the word? Not entitlement, but like the idea that he feels that he can talk about football to this football man. I just found, well, Johnny, I've been meaning to talk about this. So we're recording this on a Friday. On Wednesday was Nottingham Forest's first return to European competition for 29 years. Now, that was played at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon, American time. Now, I'm at work then, but I figured, it's going to be quiet. It'll be quiet at work. I'll watch it at work. So I put it on at work. There's nobody there. I work in a bar. And then just as it kicks off, in comes the most needy customer. Oh, he needs my attention all the time. So I come in, I'm sort of eyeing him, and I'm like, oh, here we are. And I look at him and I say, I've got to watch this game, mate. I've got to watch it. So he comes and sits next to me and he offers his viewpoints on this, like, cut out the direct kick. Cut out the direct kick. Oh, yeah, oh, God. Stop the setup. There was one guy who's like, this guy is so much bigger than the rest of the players. He was the left winger. It was Callum Hudson-Odoi. He was just literally nearer the camera. He's like, this guy's huge. He's like, because, he's nearer the camera. He looks much bigger. It's absolutely wild. So it can be very, very frustrating listening to Americans who really know absolutely nothing about the game but feel perfectly compelled to tell me all about it. And I did feel for the manager of Castel di Sangro, Giaccone, who is also Joe McGinniss' neighbour.
Yeah, like what a cast of characters. McGinness himself, absolute maniac. As you say, he kind of insinuates himself into the setup. At one point, he's reffing training games. He's, as you say, giving unwelcome advice all of the time. And I think because Giaccone is an old school Italian coach with kind of catenaccio kind of vibes, he wants to play this low block kind of approach. And the players kind of hate him. So they kind of use McGinness every now and again, don't they, to kind of get a message to Giaccone. So he's absolutely embedded in it. It's amazing. But just the cast of characters, you talked about racketeering. So it's run by mafia guys, right? The club is run by mafia guys.
It's like The Godfather. They never say the word mafia, right? So it's owned by Signor Reza. And it's strongly implied that he bought the club as a way of money laundering. He installs as the chairman Signor Gravina, who is his nephew-in-law.
Yes.
And who is a very, very shady character.
Yeah, and also an asshole, as well as being a shady character. He's kind of pulling various publicity stunts because he wants to get into Berlusconi's government, effectively, is what Gravina is trying to do. So an amazing cast of characters. Reza is this silent, old mafia dude smoking a cigar in the corner and not saying much, and Gravina is this whatever kind of obnoxious, younger, different style of crook. And then you've got Giaccone, the hardened coach, and then this array of players. And boy, do they have some stories, these guys. And McGinness is just in love with these players. And a load of the players say over the course of the year that this is a very, very special group. They've never had a group like this before. I wonder, Dal, because you've said it before in various books, certain things don't ring true. Do you think that this is all true? Because it really is astonishing what happens over the course of the year.
I mean, I want to believe it's all true, Johnny. I really, really do want to believe it's all true. But some of it, I was just like, come on. No, I don't believe that. So I haven't got a specific example off the top of my head, but I'm sure I'll find one. But there's moments, honestly, there's moments which just simply beggar belief, like absolutely beggar belief. I'll use an example right now.
Well, let's just pause and give people the opportunity to not listen to this and go and read the book, because we will talk about the spoilers, right? Because
we got to.
Yeah, exactly. So absolutely, it's crazy, and it's the twists and the turns. So like you would think, I knew a fella years ago in my university, and he was like a journalist in some kind of university newspaper, and he got an opportunity to go and follow the Lions tour to New Zealand. He was about 20, I think we were just out of college, and the Lions tour that year was a total bust. They got absolutely smashed, He was supposed to write a book, but who's interested in this book? So obviously this can happen if you go and follow a team. But McGinness' experience couldn't be more different, right? Because it's just an amazing series of events. And also, McGinness is a beautiful writer.
It is absolutely fabulous. I cannot stress how good this book is, how exciting, what a page turner it is. I genuinely just, one more chapter, and I never feel that way about these books.
What's at stake? So what's it called? El Salvaso, is that what they're going for? Salvation. So they set themselves out for the whole year. The only intention is to stay up. This is, I guess, anyone who follows football is familiar with the aims and ambitions of a newly promoted side. So they're the smallest team or smallest town ever to have a team in Serie B. So this is what the miracle is. Castel di Sangro, by the way, is supposedly means castle of blood in the Abruzzo dialect, which is pretty nice. But so that's what they're setting their stall out to do that. But the guy Reza, the mafia boss, he's kind of these guys Reza and Gravina are having second thoughts, because maybe this is bringing a level of attention that they don't necessarily want on their business operations. So it's not like everyone is necessarily pulling in the same direction all the time. And Reza in particular is dragging his legs on the ground, because they have to upgrade the ground in order for them to play in Serie B. But the ground is not ready. So there's various, I guess it's a little soap opera, right?
Well, absolutely. And Joe McGinniss throws himself into this soap opera, and he's providing the conflict and friction. And he's there questioning Reza, saying, why aren't you using the money you've got from being promoted to Serie B to build the stadium? And of course, this is a gentleman who's highly implied is in the mafia, and everyone is like, Joe, no, Joe, you don't say, no, don't say. And he's there like, why aren't you building this? No, Joe, you don't say this. Don't say it. Don't. So yeah, it's fabulous, and he never learns to shut his mouth, does he? He never does. I mean, that's his. That's his white Anglo-Saxon mindset, isn't it? Like, he doesn't have that Catholic mindset. Although,
he says this, only 2 matches into the season and already my grip on reality was loosening. Whenever he wrote this book, he's had the time to kind of step away from things, and he sees how deeply he fell into this, because he really went off the deep end. I threw my notebook to the ground and buried my face in my hands, vowing that I would look only at the second hand of my watch until it had made 8 complete revolutions of the dial. He's a bag of nerves, and the team are, they struggle. It's a struggle right from the start. They can't score goals. They cannot win games away from home. So they are just trying to get points here and there to stay up. And he's a bit of a lucky charm, because he's away for whatever reason for a couple of games and they lose them, and then he's around and he wins and whatever. I'd love to speak to one of the other members of the cast and just know what they thought of McGinness, because they must have thought he was a maniac.
Yeah, absolutely. And he really engenders what it is to support a lower league team. Every goal is a fucking event, right? Every single one, every single goal that they score, he can describe in detail, because that's what it is to support a struggling side. Every goal is an event. Every draw is a victory, and every victory is an elation. And it really comes across like that.
And particularly, he's an American, obviously, and America has its own special relationship with soccer, changing, I guess, now. And he's gone to Italy, where the experience of Calcio is much different. And this is one of the main themes of the book. The book starts, and this doesn't sound very realistic. He's on a train somewhere, comes across some random fella who's come from being court-martialed. He's a soldier. And the guy says, you got to come to my village and watch. I'm going to watch the Milan match. I recorded it. It was on during my court-martial. Now, he's never met this man before. They go back to the man's house. Milan conspire to lose this game. The man leaves the house and doesn't return. McGinness just sleeps there and then hangs around the next day and is like, what should I do? And the man never returns. He never sees the man again, and McGinness lets himself out. And that's the start of the book. And you're thinking, well, that was an interesting start, and the book continues in this vein, right? Because he has a great eye for characters, McGinness himself. He really gets to know the players, and he kind of inserts himself into their lives and all the rest of it. But he has just a great skill for melodrama or something. He seems to attract it, and he can definitely write about it.
Yeah, I think him being a novice of football actually does help the description, right? Because he has to describe, as you say, everything that happens for his American audience, and it really brings it alive. Now, referees, can I read this? He gets it, right? He just gets it. Castel di Sangro are playing a huge game and they have a goal disallowed, and everyone's saying this is the worst referee they've ever seen. And it would be fair to say Joe McGinniss is on board, and this is what he says. Well, somebody had to do something to this man and do it fast. I mean, hurt him physically. How I wish I had some heavy metal object in my pocket. I'd have run down from the Tribuna d'Onore to the edge of a field and would have let fly. I would have aimed for the head and prayed for a direct hit. That's exactly how I felt about referees when I was more immature in my football supporting. I remember there was a game against Blackburn Rovers, and like Forrest had been called offside for the 100th time, and I was running off down to have a word with the linesman, and my dad grabbed me by the fucking hair, grabbed me by the hair to stop it. And I'm glad he did. But yeah, he really feels it. He feels it so much. He hates the referees so much. He's just absolutely fanatical about it.
They go back to Castel di Sangro after that particular game out, and everybody's talking about what happened in this. It's the worst since we saw the Linciago of the referee in Solano in 78, 79. And he's like, what happened in what's the Linciago? It's literally the lynching of a referee. I looked into that, and there was some. So this is Solano played Raiano, was played on a neutral venue, and the referee was badly assaulted, hospitalized but not killed. But the same article that I found said there was a referee in another game in San Benedetto de Marsi who was hanged by local supporters, like a fatal lynching, like of a referee. Isn't that absolutely daft?
Well, that's it. He talks about this with the players, and they're like, yeah, but they make sure the referee not do it again. It's like, and then there's a trial for the people that lynched the referee, and they were like, but the judge, they do the right thing, he know this. It's just like, you just make sure he not do it to another team. Like, it was justified in their minds.
And are we going to allow that Italian accent for...
He's a bellissimo. He's a very good. Don't think that's a good Italian accent? I was genuinely quite impressed with that.
He's just such a beautiful writer. He says things like this. This is him talking about the market in the local market in Castel di Sangro. He would be woken by the sound of the market on whenever it was a Saturday or Sunday morning. But I welcomed the din. The sounds were those of vitality and enterprise. To me, the cries of the vendors, one to the other and later to the early arrivals for whose business they became a more deeply ingrained part of the Italian experience than visits to churches or museums. This was not art, but something of even greater value, life itself. Okay, this is a bit of a longer one. And what might I say of Venice? For hundreds of years, painters, composers, poets and writers of prose have been lured into that enchanted realm of canals and lagoons, each to try his or her best to capture its essence. In the past century, photographers and filmmakers have joined the parade, but no one in any form has been more than fractionally successful in conveying the nature of the Venetian experience. I'd been there before, in 1994 by myself, and in January of 1996 with Nancy, his wife. On Saturday, I'd be returning with my ragazzi, the lads, the football players, this time strictly for business. Canals, lagoons, cathedrals, great works of art. No, grazie. We will be coming in search of points. Lovely. Just brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a magnificent book. All right, so we get through some of...
Wait, one more.
Right.
I was aware that many Americans made such an effort, this is avoiding football while they're in Italian, believing that they'd be risking their lives by attending a match and convinced that if they did survive, they'd be somehow soiled by the passion of the lower classes and forever after somehow less worthy to gaze rapturously upon the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel or the like. Oh, yes, Joe, absolutely lovely.
Yeah. He's absolutely fabulous writer. Really brings it alive. All right, so should we talk about some of the interesting events over the season?
Yes.
And there are myriad.
You tell me what you've got and I'll tell you what I've got.
So comically, he moves into a hotel in the town of Castel di Sangro. There's only one hotel, 0 stars. And this hotel shuts on a Wednesday. That's nice. But the owner of the club moves him into an apartment, and that is in an apartment building with a lot of the players, and he lives next door to the manager. So he has like constant access to this manager, and he uses that access, doesn't he, Johnny? He's always in his ear all the time, telling him who to pick, who he should get. And he really gets a very strong relationship with this manager, although there's some caveats about this manager, right? Like, oh, he's a racist, isn't he? He's a racist. He wouldn't sign black players.
Oh, he's a racist, and also he's also not a man who welcomes this kind of input. There's a very nice bit at the end because McGinniss kind of correctly detects that Giacone doesn't like this input, and then at the end of the season, he says, "Well, you know, I welcomed when you would tell me something, because then I had to question my own decisions. Was I ever right? Not even once."
Yeah, he says on the job he was not interested in the opinions of others, but what did he expect from a football manager? There's the opportunity, and this leads on to the most bizarre story in the whole book, for Castel di Sangro to sign a player called Ado, a Ghanaian international, right? Captain of the Ghanaian team.
Joseph Ado, yeah. Ado, yeah.
Okay. And this lad is magnificent. He turns up, the players are all boosted. We're signing this lad, he's going to change our season. But Giacone will not sign him, right? And Giacone says, oh no, these players aren't suited to Serie B. They don't have the cattore, the character, which is constantly referenced. So pretty much he doesn't sign this player who was head and shoulders better than everyone else because he was black. And I guess the author is not as harsh as he might have been now in the current climate, right? I think he get more.
He does call Giacone a racist to his face. He does tell him he's a racist.
Yeah, but that was back in the night. He just brushed that off, right? Like, just say you're a bit of a pest. But this leads on. Can we talk about the Ponick signing now?
Yeah, Robert Ponick.
So there's all sorts going on with the team. The stadium is not ready. There's a lot of controversy about this. And all of a sudden, Castel di Sangro announced they're signing Robert Raku Ponick from Leicester City. And this is greeted with like huge excitement. Oh, they're getting from Leicester City, getting from the Premier League. This is very exciting. This lad, Ponick, turns up to a press conference. I mean, I looked this up. I couldn't find any evidence of this otherwise. And I don't have the quotes in front of me, but basically this Ponick's like, oh, I'm coming over here and I'm going to get your bitches. I'm going to be having sex with all your bitches over here in his press conference. And the guy's like, what? Because like, what was he saying? He's like, yeah, man, I'm not really bothered about being here. I'm just here for the bitches and stuff. And then he plays a game. They play an exhibition game so this Ponick lad can play.
It's also the first game on the new stadium, right? So it's kind of it's unveiling this new stadium, which, you know, more about in a minute. But yeah, go on.
20 minutes into the game, this Ponick lad just fucks off the pitch, walks off, game over. What is going on? It was all a scam. It was all like a publicity stunt engineered by Gravina, the owner of the chairman of the team and the very, very shady character. But what did he expect to achieve? It's so wild. He's like, oh yeah, all publicity is good publicity. No.
The players didn't know or anything, and one fella was cast out of the team and found himself, like, McGinness finds him on the sideline wearing his suit saying, they're kicking me out of the team so they can sign this fella. They hadn't even bothered to tell him that it was all stunt.
All a stunt. I mean, I guess this was like pre-internet access, so you couldn't really look up who Robert Raku Ponick was. But just, I don't know. It was staggering, right, John? It's just like, what did he expect to achieve with this? And this was all meant to be some publicity stunt to distract from the stadium, to distract from the manager's race. It was nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it was like, were they performers or something? Like circuit? And like, because there was a team that they were playing against. And they were like, did he say that they were some kind of like, I don't know, acting troupe. There was something, you know, the whole thing was funny, yeah.
It was an acting troupe. It's absolutely astonishing.
But it's not, you know, so there's all the ups and downs, and he will talk about matches in a level of detail which is not interesting in any other book that we've read. But he gets in so deep and he becomes so close to the players. And so, as we know from the Totti book, the Italy season is split in two, right? And they don't have a great first half of the season. They end the first half of the season in the relegation zone. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
they're
then-
flirting with relegation all throughout the season.
all the time. But then, like, tragically, two of the players die in a car crash. Biondi and Di Vincenzo, which is just astonishing, right? And this, I'd flicked ahead to the pictures part, you know, and they didn't remember any of this. It was like a picture of whatever Biondi just shortly before he died, and I was like, what? But anyway, they died around the turn of the year. But this does seem to have had a huge galvanizing effect on the squad, right? Because after that, when they came back, they started winning games, and they kind of seemed to turn around. And when you mentioned Giacone's obsession with character, and they had mentioned a few times how, like a few different players had mentioned how special this group was, they were, they seem to all been really, really galvanized here by this appalling incident, that brought them all together, right?
Well, that's right. They say it's the two players looking down on them from heaven, which is like guiding the ball into the net. And they all seem to really believe it, eh? And if you all believe it, then it's true, isn't it?
So they were always going to this restaurant. What was your one's name? Marcella, was it? And,
Marcella's, yeah.
and she had a son, Christian, who used to speak a bit of English. And Christian goes, you know, we used to say it was you were the 12th man, but that was bullshit. Now we really do have a 12th and a 13th man.
Yeah, Marcella's is the central hub for the whole team. This is where they all eat and go all the time. There's one amusing incident where he walks in and Marcella's shouts at Joe McGinniss, Marlocks, which is what do we call it?
Harper.
Yeah, anti-indigestion medicine, because he'd been into the pharmacy and ordered some Marlocks. And the pharmacist told Marcella about this, and she took it personally, but her pizzas were giving him indigestion. And he learned to go to a different pharmacy in town after that.
Yeah, and because they're young Italian men away from their mothers, they need a mother. So they're all there eating there every night. So he's gone there every night and eating with these fellas who are like 30 years younger than him. It is a funny setup, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's all sorts of politics in that. Like in the first time he goes to one of these team meetings, the manager offers him a chair next to him. He sits down. Little does he realise that chair was really meant for De Julius, who is a goalkeeper and Giacone's teacher's pet, the manager's teacher's pet. He absolutely loves him. Yeah, and he realises, he sits there for 3 weeks and this poor lad's seething away that he's stolen his chair, and 3 weeks later he realises the faux pas he's made and gives him his chair back. But yeah, there's all sorts of crazy politics. And yeah, Marcella's pizza restaurant, I'd love to go there. Wouldn't you love to be there with those? Like, it just sounds fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah, it does sound amazing. I was thinking the same thing. It'd be so nice to go to this little town and have a look around. But on this thing about it being a special group, this is what another one of the goalkeepers, Spinoza, said to McGinness. Even if our miracle is not what you expected, he said finally, you are still a very lucky man, because a squad like this, and I speak not of talent, but of the core e grinta e character, essentially the strength in the character that exists, no matter how angry some players might be, this is once in the life, and once only, for anyone involved in Il Calcio. And for you, Joe, to pass the season among these kinds of men, that is the real miracle. And that is really how McGinness feels, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. There's, at the end of the book, he goes, oh, brave new world to live in a land. Oh, fuck, I can't remember the fucking Shakespeare quote. But anyway, he's quoting Shakespeare about how excited he is with his teammates.
There's brilliant moments. They go to play in Genoa, which is one of the biggest It's the oldest team in Italy, founded by Englishmen. I think Genoa maybe a football and cricket club, one of those ones. But they won on the road. It was their first win on the road, and it was at the end of April, and they went 3-1. And they're applauded out of Genoa after finally winning on the road. And like you said,
Actually, that's where I call bullshit. Yeah, he says that for Genoa fans, Genoa waited 90 minutes for the Castel di Sangro team to leave so we could all applaud them. Bollocks. Bollocks. No, they didn't. That has never happened.
That's funny. Did you like this bit? The short and rather cunning masseur comes looking for Joe so he could buy sex drugs from him from America. And these are for Gravina. Masseur is like, he's married with kids and he's got... Joe's like, fine, whatever, but really? I didn't really think you'd be into that kind of thing. He's like, no, it's not for me. It's for Mr. X. And he's trying to figure out who Mr. X is. It turns out to be Gravina anyway. And he says, Gravina wants to fuck like the fucker machine.
And of course, Joe McGinniss uses this against Gravina later in the book as well, very ill-advisedly.
Hangs the fucking masseur out to dry. Would you, if you were living away for a year from your wife and your child, how would Heather react if you asked her to send over sex drugs? Would she? Because that's what he did. He asked his wife to get these drugs from him,
Yeah, the idea is so fanciful. The whole notion just seems so ludicrous. She wouldn't like it. She wouldn't like it at all.
Yeah. Okay, so we've already had this incredible tragic incident with the two fellas dying. And then another lad is suddenly very sullen.
You're talking about the Chilean wife, right?
Yeah. So one of them has this Chilean wife, Vanessa, and she's gone off the scene somehow, and people think, what's going on here? And suddenly this guy, his name is Gigi Pret, and Pret's suddenly very sullen in training, and someone spots that a letter that Pret receives is not coming from Chile, because he said his wife was in Chile, but it came from Rome. So there's all this speculation that they're splitting up. But then suddenly... the police swoop, and this guy is arrested as being at the center of an international drug smuggling ring, bringing like copious amounts of cocaine from Chile into Italy. And the wife is in Italy, not because they're splitting up, because she's in prison. And of course, Gravina is arrested in the middle of this as well. And of course, the accusation is that Gravina is very much part of this. But then, this throws everything up into the air. Everything's gone crazy again. But it seems that old Reza is able to make a phone call and make this stuff go away. And your one goes to jail or whatever. But the guy eventually gets released and is back in the team. Amazing.
Yeah, and more than that, is like considered this wonderful martyr, and everyone's celebrating. Here he is, like the recipient of justice at last. Lovely Gigi. Yeah, that is a fun story because... he spent some time with Gigi and his Chilean wife, and she is like this sultry, sexy lady, and he's got some cuck energy, isn't he, old Gigi Pret, like some strong cuck energy. Yeah, and the implication is like his wife is also having sexual relations with Gravina, the recipient of the sex pills. I really feel for him.
Man, Gravina does fuck like the fucker machine, so yeah, at one point, some other player, this kind of player who was a little standoffish with McGinness for a long time, after Pret had been arrested, he kind of goes and sits with McGinness on the bus and tells McGinness what's going on, that what had been happening, and then your man is released, and this other player scores a goal and dedicates it to Gigi, to Pret. And McGinness goes, but I thought you said that he was involved in all this crazy stuff. And he said, well, he's been released, so he's fine. He's been released, therefore he is innocent.
I mean, right, to put it into context, right, and I was looking at it like I'd see everything through the prism of Forest. So let's say this Castel di Sangro being promoted to Serie B is like Forest being promoted back to the Premier League after 25 years. Say that's a similar comparison. So we get back to the Premier League, but the stadium's not ready because the chairman, who is a bit of a gangster ad boy, has pocketed the money, so we have to play at Derby County. All right, so that's absolutely horrendous. And then we have a manager and we get a great player, we're going to sign him, but the manager won't sign him because he's racist. So it's like, oh, this is bad. And then, say, if this is Forest, all of a sudden, Ryan Yates and Nico Williams are killed in a car crash. And then Walt Gibbs-White is arrested for drug dealing. Imagine if this actually happened, like, to a Premier League team. It is so wild.
Yeah.
So wild.
Yeah. It's an incredible story. Like, again, he could have went and covered this team and nothing could have happened. They could have had it, like the whole season could have been a total damn squib and the whole thing could have been a disaster. But no, he captured like an amazing series of events. And so it comes to the end, right? They're more or less in and out of the relegation zone, and then they have a derby game with Pescara, which is a rival in Abruzzo. So it's their second last game, and they win. They win and they secure safety, and this is the peak, and just the excitement, the relief, all of these things. He really feels it, right?
Well, as a reader, you feel it, Johnny. I was absolutely jubilant that they stayed up. I didn't know what was going to happen. I resisted the urge to find out what was, and I was fucking made up like when they stayed up. I was so pleased. I was sure this was going to end in glorious failure. And yeah, this game in Genoa, this is, a game for the ages. This is a game that people in Castel di Sangro will remember forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, and okay, Al, then tell us about the gut punch.
Another gut punch. All right, so it's the final game of the season, and they're away at Bari. And Bari are right up near the top, and they're one of the biggest teams. And again, they're one of the oldest, most significant teams in Italian football. And one of the players comes over to them and goes, oh, Joe, yeah, you're going to get it. I'm Mario. You don't need to come. You don't need to come to this game, Joe. You stay here in Castel di Sangro. And he's like, what? No. This is the triumph. This is the lap of honor. Of course I'm going to come. And he's like, no, you stay. No, you stay here, Castel di Sangro. And he's like, why? I don't know. So he refuses that. So he travels down with the team, and they're all staying in the same hotel. And he's eavesdropping at one point, right? And the players are talking about how they're going to lose the game. They'll score a goal, but certain other players for Bari will score. It was 3-1, right? They engineered.
And that's what they said they were going to do, yeah.
And so he overhears this, and he's like, lads, are you saying what I think you're saying? And they're like, oh, Mr. Joe, don't worry. This is no problem for you. We already saved. La Savezza, it's been done. And so, so it turns out that Gravina has engineered with Bari they're just going to lay down, They're going to lay down in the second round and let Bari win promotion. They've already been saved. And this is where Joe, to his credit, he just tears it all up. He slags them all off, calls them all cheats, goes after the chairman very vocally, very publicly. And he's broken by this, right? At the end, he sees they're all cheats. But, Johnny, do we not understand this happens in Italian football all the time, right? This is just generally accepted.
Yeah, and I think that, again, he's reflected. So they're all saying, look, you don't understand. You can't, we have no choice. None of us are happy about this. Like, there's one of the goalkeepers says he's just delighted that one of the goalkeepers is injured, and he says he's just delighted that he doesn't have to stand, play through this match and be part of this. None of them are happy to do it, and they keep saying it's il sistema or whatever, the system. This is just the world that they live in, and he fundamentally doesn't understand this, and he cannot understand it. And I think maybe with a little bit of reflection, he says maybe he could have just kind of not gone along with it exactly, but maybe forgiven them and understood why they have to go along with it, because they don't have a choice. That's their feeling. These guys they're dealing with dangerous men ultimately, and they're dealing with forces that are just beyond their control. So they go along with it. They've already achieved what they set out to achieve. One of the other players explains to him, well, look at these results. Look at this particular result last year. Look at that particular result the year before. This stuff happens. There's nothing we can do with it. But yeah, he is broken. So he has had this, he says things at various times in the book that this is the kind of most significant experience of his life. And then they have this big win and they stay up. So this is really, this is, I guess, maybe the finest moment in his entire life. And then this absolute betrayal. So yeah, he is broken by it. But it's so poignant or something, isn't it?
Well, that's it. I mean, he's just there blaring off. He's shouting off about the chairman. He's, everyone that can hear him. They say, Joe, you don't understand. You don't understand. This is a time when you don't understand. You use the quiet voice. Or better still, no voice.
Yeah.
But he's not having that, is he, old McGinniss? Not at all. He is absolutely furious and he calls them all out.
Yeah, he's very interesting, McGinniss, because you would think that he's staying in this apartment in this tiny little town. He's shooting his mouth off. You think he might be afraid, but he's not afraid. This guy he's quite fearless, McGinniss, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is absolutely fearless.
But one of them says, you've ruined it now, Joe. You can never come back here. You can see us, but you'll never be able to return to Castel di Sangro.
And that's how the book finishes. And that's it. You're all doubled over like, oh my God, after all of that,
After all of that.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, he could have done that 10 different times and not had that story,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so happy that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Like I say, I'm a little bit annoyed because I think you said last week or the week before that I just rate every book half a point lower than you. And I was like, I get him this time, but maybe I won't be able to get you because I guess you can't go higher than 5.
It is a 5-star book. Just one quick anecdote very quickly. Like all throughout this season, he's in love with the reserve goalkeeper, Lottie. He sees Julius as the manager's pet, but he's always like, oh, Lottie. Whenever Lottie plays, he's brilliant. Lottie. He's got the highest average scores. He puts a lot of faith in the rankings. But it's not really stats, though, is it? It's journalists just writing down this player 5, this player 6.
Yeah.
There's no real statistical analysis, but he really rates this. He's like, oh, well, if a journalist wrote down 6 out of 10, this is good. And he's talking to the manager of New England Revolution. He's like, oh, you should get this Lottie fella from us. Like, he's brilliant. You should buy him. And he's like, well, is he playing? He's like, no. He's like, well, he's got to be playing really, otherwise we're not going to sign him. And he's like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And then the sign-off to his story is the New England Revolution manager signs Walter Zenga, the multi-capped Italian international. And he's like, what a fucking idiot. He should have listened to me and bought this Serie B reserve keeper, but instead he bought Walter Zenga. Oh, why don't they listen? Why don't people listen to old Joe McGinniss? Like, what was Zenga got? Like, I thought that was funny. He has such faith in his judgment.
Oh, yeah.
He's sweet.
He is an amazing sense of himself and his own importance. But then he's able to laugh at himself as well. He's a funny character, isn't he?
Oh, no. I mean, I don't say that snidely. I really like the man. I really like everything he did. Oh, another fun fact, his best sponsor was Soviet jeans. That's funny. It's Soviet jeans.
It'd be a great shirt to have. The Castel di Sangro 1996 shirt.
I would pay proper money for that shirt, Johnny. Although, have you looked it up? It's ugly as fuck. So ugly.
Okay, so how do you want to rate this? Fucker machines?
That'll do it.
5 fucker machines out of 5 from me anyway. This is, like I say, this is one of my favourite books.
Yeah, 5 fucking machines from me as well. Absolutely, without question, the best book we've done. Just, as you said earlier, Johnny, I think the fact we have to read so much rubbish really does make the quality shine out, doesn't it? Like, this is like a diamond in a dustbin of what we've been reading.
But just like these characters, they just seem like such decent people. The way he writes about them, he's talking about their lives, and obviously these guys are people not getting paid a lot of money. They've got real world problems, and it's not like these closeted assholes that we read about in Crouch's book or whatever,
No, it's a great story about great characters written by a great writer with a great end. It's a perfect book.
It is a perfect book, absolutely, yeah. Okay, well, how are we going to follow that out?
Well, Johnny, a middle-aged white man having a midlife crisis in Italy. Yeah, the next book we're going to do is A Season with Verona by Tim Parks. This is my pick. I think I'm on a similar vein. Have you got your copy yet, Johnny?
No, can I get it on Kindle?
You're going to fucking hate me.
Okay, so it's Tim Parks and?
A Season with Verona.
Okay, well, it's a tough act to follow, isn't it?
I've got a nice suspicion this is going to be able to do it. But yeah, it's been years since I read it, so let's find out. But yeah, it's very similar. It's a white middle-aged man covering an Italian team, a smaller Italian team in the 90s. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll be a lovely companion piece. And next week, draft.
We had a request from Fergal Coffee, players who've played for both teams in a given derby. And just to be clear on derbies, when we talk about derbies, right? We say, can a team only have one derby?
I think you can only have one true derby.
So we'll say, take United, right? United's big derby, I guess, now is City. But historically, was it Liverpool?
It's Liverpool, right? Yeah, I would say the Manchester. Yeah, obviously the Manchester derby is a derby, but yeah, your greatest rivalry is Liverpool for sure, right?
So, where does that leave the Merseyside derby then? You know, it's complicated. Anyway, we can deal with it as it comes, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll litigate that as we go. All right. So thank you very much indeed, Johnny. I, as ever, need to fly off for a pee at the end of these recordings.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Al. And thanks, Joe McGinniss, for that fantastic book.
Brilliant book.
Let your body spin like there is nothing in life but dancing. I can't keep my hands off you, as if this looked like glue.